above and beyond anything, everything, great songs, great records. You know, you could have all the amazing, flashy, incredible guitar players in the world, but can you write a song? Can you write a great record? And my gosh, did he do that as well? And the other thing that sticks out in my mind with Eddie Van Halen, that I had talked to some friends of mine in the guitar community who are musicians and sell equipment and things like that. And here's a part of his story that I never really knew, not being a musician myself. But even though we have all complained about the lack of output from Van Halen in for the most part, the last 25 years, many of these people have told me that what Eddie Van Halen did from a technical standpoint with guitars and amplification and pedals and the innovations and things he created on that end completely changed that industry as well. So that's something that I never really knew because I don't play. But for people who play guitar and people that are in that end of things, the advances and the things that he did, we all know he had his own line of amps and guitars and what have you, but the stuff was really groundbreaking in terms of what he was able to accomplish with the EVH line. Something that maybe doesn't jump out at people who are not musicians like myself. If you did not hear earlier Wolfie's post, once again, this from Wolfgang Van Halen on Twitter. I can't believe I'm having to write this, but my father, Edward Ludwig Van Halen, has lost his long and arduous battle with cancer this morning. He was the best father I could ever ask for. Every moment I've shared with him on and off stage was a gift. My heart is broken, and I don't think I'll ever fully recover from this loss. I love you so much, Pop. I saw Wolfgang Van Halen not long ago. I saw him and spoke to him in LA the last time I was there before the pandemic because he was at the Alter Bridge show. And we spoke briefly backstage, and we all know that he has a record coming, and you can only feel for what him and the entire Van Halen family is dealing with and going through. So look, I am a one-man operation here, and I am going to just talk to you guys on the phones. If I'm told that, you know, and Jake or Angelo, whoever, jump in if something pressing or urgent I need to know, because I obviously can't read things at the same time. I can't look at social media, talk to calls, and speak at the same time. So I want to just go to the phones. I want to talk to you guys, the fans, for this hour. And if something breaks beyond that, something major happens beyond that, we'll cut in accordingly. We're all doing this on the fly, and we're going to do the best we can here. But for this hour, the fans, most important.
Okay.
Here's Dave in Texas. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Eddie. Man, I just wanted to chime in that I play guitar. You saw me at Parfest a few years ago, and I'm just torn apart today. I heard him on the school bus when I was in 7th grade, blew me away. Never tried to play like him. If Eddie did anything for me, he made me try harder on things I could do because I knew I could never do what he did.
Mm.
And it's a loss. It's a loss for music. It's horrible, man. It's horrible.
Thank you, Dave. It's a lot. Look, I am rarely somebody that's at a loss for words because I love to talk, as everybody knows, and pretty good at it, and that's why I do what I do. But it's as much as we may have processed this in our minds that this was coming, we really hoped it wasn't. And again, I can't stress enough, because Van Halen said nothing ever, we were left to just wonder and speculate. And we had hoped, I had hoped that, because we know how people are, we know how the internet is, we know how people like to stir the pot, we know how people like to stoke rumors. we had hoped all of this was not true. We had hoped that it was overblown and exaggerated and that it was just the internet being the internet and people saying stuff. Because there was just no hard, real information here for a really long time. And sadly, it was true because now, according to what TMZ has written, things took a really bad turn in the last 3 days. But regardless, the man is gone and he has left us with albums that are as timeless and as enduring as you could ever imagine. I've said many times, to me, every bit as significant as when you think of the Zeppelin records. To me, Van Halen was the American equivalent to Led Zeppelin in terms of their timelessness, how great the records still sound, how incredible they still are, how groundbreaking they still are. You think of these records turning 40, 50 years old. They don't feel that way. They don't sound that way. They never do. They're always great to hear. That's how I think of Van Halen, especially, those early records. It's just incredible. And, for me personally, I did not know Eddie Van Halen. I only interviewed him one time. And it was around the time of the album with Gary Cherone, and it was on the phone and it was on the radio. And we had wanted for so long when we were doing that metal show to get him on. We did a bit. Van Halen was playing Madison Square Garden, and Don and Jim did a bit where they were out front pretending that the people on the street, things one of the first episodes, were talking to Eddie Van Halen. And later on, we had gotten wind that Eddie had seen that and got a kick out of it. But we could never get him to come on the show. It was so crazy because we wanted him so badly to be on. And we thought it would be so much fun and obviously huge for us. We could never quite get him to be on. But one year, when we did the show, he sent his equipment. There was a season where we had one of his cabinets and amps up on the stage because they had sent it to us. So although he had watched and liked it, we just couldn't get him on. And just recently, the folks at NAMM reached out to me about interviewing a musician for them for the virtual NAMM next year, which Eddie Van Halen had attended in the past. And they said, if we could get you one person, this just happened a month or so ago. He said, if we could get you one person interview for the virtual NAMM, who would it be? And I said, Eddie Van Halen. Anybody that asked me, that was always my thing, is like, that's the one guy I really want to get an in-depth new interview with. And sadly, that opportunity is not going to happen. But, that's the only real personal stuff I can give you. The only other thing around that time of Van Halen 3, and I've told this story before, during that interview, and I've got to try to pull that tape and find it, but he told me to come to Madison Square Garden and see the show, and I did. And he said, I want to meet you. I'm going to leave you passes. And I didn't know that was really going to happen, and he did. It was the one time I met him. And I got there, and they walked me right into his tuning room, and we talked for a few minutes, didn't take a photo or anything. He was warming up. I said, hi. He goes, hey, I enjoyed our interview. I said, thank you. Let's do it again. And he said, I hope you like the show. And I said, great. And I went to my seat and watched the show. So, just very, very limited stories and experiences. There's a guy by the name of Adam Reaver that is a partner in one of the guitar businesses with Eddie Van Halen. And I know Adam quite well. And I've sort of spoken to Eddie through Adam and vice versa. Just very recently, we had a conversation about, again, Eddie trying to come on this show and doing something, just making some statement, saying hello, letting people know what was going on with him. And now we know what was going on with him, and it was as serious as reported. Chad in Houston.
Hey, Eddie. How are you today, man?
It's a rough day, man. Rough.
You ain't lying. You're not lying, man. 2020 has been rough for us rock fans, man, to say the least.
The worst.
It's been a bad year, man.
Worst on every front.
Yeah, agreed 100%, man. Agreed 100%. I didn't discover Van Halen until 1984, right? And then I kind of went backwards from there. My sister introduced me to all the early stuff. I will say this, I don't want to stay too long, but I'll say I got to see Eddie Van Halen and Michael and Alex when they were with Gary Sharon, and it was phenomenal to see him play. I'll never forget that. I can at least say that I got to see Eddie Van Halen in my lifetime. And the only silver lining that I can think of is that Eddie is upstairs playing with the rest of those great guitar gods that we have lost. You take care, Eddie, and I'll talk to you soon, my man.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. You